So can we maybe start by giving Mr. Walker a round of applause for his. Okay, myself and Coach Walker discussed a few weeks ago what we were going to present tonight. For those of you who were here last year, I'll give you a bit of a rundown on my program that I run at Mount Seton High School. And I know a lot of people were here last year, so we batted things backwards and forwards. What we're going to present this year. And I thought, you know, why don't we do something on developing soccer players? Because I've worked in lots of different soccer environments. I've worked with lots of different players at different age groups, and there is talent everywhere. There's talent in this program, there's talent at Newcastle United, there's talent all over the world. But for me, as a coach, the biggest questions we have to ask ourselves, you know, when we're running programs and coaching these players, is how do we nurture that talent? How do we maximize the potential of that talent? Because like I say, there's talent everywhere, but we've got to find ways of making the most of it. So I just want to share with you tonight some of the experiences, some of the knowledge, some of the resources that I've picked up from my time over the last decade or so coaching, and to hopefully give you a better idea of my key fundamental beliefs on how we really help to nurture that talent and make the most of the talent that we work with. Okay, here we go. Right. The FA, the Football Association in England, came up with a model a few years ago, okay, a model to work for coaches to work from, to really help them focus their coaching to help maximize talent. Okay, so the model that they came up with was the FA four-corner model. And as you can see, it's split into different areas of the game, or different attributes of the player. So we start with the technical and tactical side of things, which is obviously your skills and your knowledge of the game. Next corner deals with the physical side of the game. Okay, so how do we develop the players on the physical level? Psychological side, how do we help them adapt and cope with the psychological demands of the game? And also on a social level, how do we help players interact with teammates better? How do we help them communicate better with coaches, with the people around them, with officials, with their teammates, with opposition players as well? So that's the model that we work from. What I'm going to share with you now are some resources that I used at Newcastle United. And basically, one of the key things for me when we're talking about maximizing talent is the goal setting process. Okay? Because in my experience working with hundreds and hundreds of young players and senior players over the years, a player without focus, a player without direction, a player without goals is somebody that will plateau and drift along and never maximize their talent. So using the FA four-corner model, I'm going to show you some of the templates that we use here. As you can see at the top of each template, each of these reports, if you like, as well as it being split into the four corners, is also position specific on the pitch, because we identified that different players have different needs depending on what their positions are on the pitch. Okay? So we came up with a list of attributes that each player, depending on which position they play in, needs to potentially focus on. And what we did was we used this as a goal setting exercise. We asked the players themselves, we used to do this process every 6 to 12 weeks. We used to ask the players themselves to evaluate themselves in those different areas. And then the coach would evaluate that same player, and then that information would then be used as the start point for a conversation between the player and the coach as to how we then set goals for that player moving forward. identify what are their weaknesses, but identify what are their strengths as well. And that's a really important thing for me. A lot of people talk about, when they talk about goal setting, they talk about improving weaknesses. Well, for me, whether it's in football or if it's in life, it's your strengths that are going to get you that step ahead. Okay, so as well as us, improving our weaknesses, improving your strengths are just as important, because they're the things that are going to make you stand out. So we would then go through this process with the players and then come up with, as you can see at the top here, training and match day goals and an action plan for each player across the four corners of the FA four-corner model. So that the player would then have a real clear idea as to what he's looking to achieve, have that focus, have that direction as to what he's looking to improve on over the current 6 to 12 weeks, and then we would re-evaluate after that period and then reset more goals. So again, that's just one of the things. I don't know whether that's something that Coach Walker would look to maybe introduce into the program, something along the goal setting model. But this for me is why we do it. And as I mentioned before, for me, goals give people focus and direction. And unless you've got focus and direction, you're really going to struggle with motivation. But when you've got that focus and direction, you get that motivation, that's when success happens. And that's when we see people achieve. I ask this question a lot. I ask this question a lot to players. I ask this question a lot to coaches. What is the most important corner? I'm going to ask you guys across to the side of the room. Put your hands up if you think the red corner is the most important corner. Put your hands up if you think the yellow corner is the most important corner. Put your hands up if you think the green corner is the most important corner. Right, something tells me you see my slide. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'll explain why it's that. But for me, these are just key words for me. Okay, like I mentioned before, technical and tactical are your skills and your knowledge. Physical is your strength and your speed. Your psychological is your mindset and your beliefs, and I'm going to talk about those in a minute. And your social is your interactions and your communication. Okay. These are just some of the. I just wanted to ask some of these questions, just for me to try and demonstrate why I feel the psychological side is so important. So if you reference it against the technical and tactical side of the game, the question I would ask is, how well can you perform your skills if you have no confidence, no composure, and no belief? On the tactical side, how can you make the right decisions or be in the right place if your concentration or focus is poor? On the physical side, how fast and how long can you run for if you're in a negative frame of mind? You guys, your own players, you know how you feel on the football pitch when you are in a fantastic place inside your own head. You feel like you can run forever. You feel like you can run faster than anybody on the pitch. But then you also have times on the pitch when you're feeling low. You might be having a poor game in your own mind, and you feel like you've got no energy whatsoever. It's the same person, the same athlete. But for me, the underpinning reason why there is the difference between those two feelings is the psychological side of the game. And then finally, on the social side, how can you communicate with teammates and affect them in a positive way if your psychology is poor? Now, this is one of the biggest issues with coaching that I've found throughout the years, because if we were to throw some statistics out there about how much time is spent on each of the four corners, I bet you any money, about 80% of the coaching time is spent on the technical and tactical side of the game. Probably another 15% is spent on the physical side of the game. And then on the psychological side, next to nothing. And I feel that as coaches, we're failing players if we don't coach them on the psychological side of the game. Because how can their skills come to the forefront? How can they show how good they are if they can't deal with the psychological aspects of the game? And it's something that I've always tried over the last few years to really hammer home with my players and to deal with, you know, on a consistent basis. Because I think it is the key to unlocking the door. You know, when we're talking about athletes, it's the key that unlocks the door to all the other skills. So on that note, I'm going to talk a little bit about mindset. During my time in Newcastle United, we worked with a team of sports psychologists, and we covered this topic because we identified the problem that I just talked about. What we wanted to do was we wanted to try and change the mindset of the players within our footballing environment. And what I mean by mindset is, I'm just going to read from the screen here. Mindsets are beliefs. Beliefs about yourself and your most basic qualities. Think about your intelligence, your talents, your personality. Are these qualities simply fixed, carved in stone, and that's that? Or are they things you can develop and improve throughout your life? Now I've seen lots and lots of hugely talented players. Players that have gone on to do absolutely nothing in the game. And I'll tell you the number one reason. Because they had a fixed mindset. And what I mean by that is that they believed that they were talented, and that talent was enough. They didn't have to work as hard as anybody else because they were talented. And what happens is, you get players with the growth mindset, okay? The ones that understand that their talents and abilities can be developed through effort and persistence. You know, they're not, you know, they're not unreasonable. They don't think that everybody's the same. Anybody can be Messi or Ronaldo. There's certain things, you know, that we're born with that can make us more, you know, more what's the word, susceptible or preconditioned to go and reach those amazing heights. But they do believe that everybody can get better if they work at it. And if there's one key message I want to give you guys as young student athletes tonight, it is this: you must develop a growth mindset. Okay? Because hard work, persistence is the key to success. I don't know if you can see that. I'll just go through it. Basically, we've got a little illustration here, and it shows you the difference when we come across challenges, obstacles, how we think about effort, how we deal with criticism, the differences in the behaviours between the student athletes who have got a fixed mindset and the ones that have got a growth mindset. Classic behaviour, and I've seen it so many times, classic behaviour of people who have a fixed mindset. When they come across a challenge, they try and avoid it. Because they've convinced themselves that they're talented, and if they come up against a challenge and there's a chance they might fail that challenge, then that knocks their confidence that they're talented, and it makes them look vulnerable to other people. Okay? And that's why they shy away from challenges. Whereas people with a growth mindset understand and embrace challenges because they understand that by making mistakes, by making yourself vulnerable, that is the path to success. Because every mistake you make is you taking one step closer to the right answer, to the right step. Okay, in terms of obstacles, we tend to see fixed mindset people give up easily. And then, off the back of that, make excuses. And again, I see it so many times. Make excuses, they want to blame somebody else or something else, rather than take a look at themselves and understand why it's happened. Whereas growth mindset, we see them persist and try again. They won't be beaten, they never give up. Okay? In terms of effort, people with a growth mindset, They see that effort as the path to mastery. They understand that, you know, they're not going to get anywhere with their lives or with their soccer unless they keep going and keep trying. Okay? And then in terms of criticism, they're happy to take constructive criticism, and they're happy to learn from it. Again, because that gives them that step ahead of the other people. Okay, they take the learnings from that criticism. So I just wanted to recap on that side of things and just show you how your mindset can affect your behaviour. And trust me, I'm standing here as somebody who, without sounding funny, probably had the talent to go on and make a very good living out of this game of soccer. But I didn't as a player, because when I'm honest with myself now and I look back when I was younger, I had a fixed mindset. I just thought my talent was going to be good enough. I wasn't prepared to persist enough. I wasn't prepared to work hard enough. I wasn't prepared to take advice from other people or take criticism from other people. So I'm speaking from personal experience. And again, I've seen it with so many players that I've worked with over the years. So, key messages to you guys. Change your mindset if you need to. Hopefully I've given you a little bit of an idea. You can have an honest conversation with yourself. I've given you a decent idea whether you approach things with a little bit of a fixed mindset. Are you scared to use your weaker foot sometimes because you might make a mistake and you might look stupid in front of other people? Or do you want to use your weaker foot because you know that if you keep using it, you're going to get better and it's going to make you a better player? So be honest with yourself. Recognize whether you've got a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. If you've got a growth mindset, keep going. If you've got a fixed mindset, try and change it. Going back to the goal setting, prepare yourself for success. And do that by setting yourself some clear goals. If you don't know what goals to set yourself, that's when you speak to your coaches, speak to your parents, speak to the people that you trust. Say that I want to get better. Okay, they'll help you. Because without goals, without direction, okay, you'll never maximize your potential, never maximize your talent. I touched on this before. Improve your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay, because your strengths are the things that are going to make you stand out. So if you've got a fantastic left foot and a not so good right foot, okay, yeah, work on your right foot. But, you know, try and take your left foot to the next level. Okay? Don't just think, oh yeah, mate, my left foot's fantastic, I don't need to work on it anymore. Really key on this. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You could argue that the people who make the most mistakes, if they've got the first three things right, they've set goals and they've got the right mindset, the people who are prepared to make the most mistakes are the ones who at the end of the day will get the most success. They're prepared to put themselves out there, prepared to put themselves up there to be shot down, to make themselves, you know, look a little bit silly sometimes, but to understand that the end goal is worth it at the end. Enjoy challenges. Meet them head on. Don't shy away from challenges. Okay? There's a famous saying, what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. Alright? Obviously, don't try challenges that are going to kill you. But anything else, go and try them. Because even if you fail, you will learn something from it. And then finally, you can't get anywhere without training hard, training often, and train with purpose. And when I mean train with purpose, there's a saying that I use with my players all the time back home, and that is, when they walk into my environment at Monk Seton High School, I always say to them, just being here isn't enough. Well done for getting here, by the way, but just being here isn't enough. Just turning up for a training session isn't enough. You've got to go into that training session with real purpose. And again, you get your purpose from setting yourself some goals. If you can train with purpose, then your development path is going to be like that. If you just turn up and train, you might, yes, you'll improve, but you'll improve like that. Okay? So train with purpose. Give it everything you've got when you train. And finally, me and Coach Walker talked about this last night. I think this is really true. And what I mean by soccer equals life and life equals soccer is there are so many parallels you can draw between how you approach things out on the soccer field and how you approach things in your life. And I could have quite easily made this whole presentation, could have changed that title from how to develop soccer players to how to develop people. Young people, old people, anybody. Because if you can get your strategy right to improve your soccer, you can apply that strategy to your life, and that will help you improve your life as well. Okay? So that's what I wanted to end on tonight. That Coach Walker teaches you some fantastic things, and I've watched him work over the last couple of years. He teaches you not just about your soccer, but how to develop your skills as a person, and that is so, so important. Get your strategy right, and you'll improve as a soccer player, and you'll improve as a human being. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well done, Lee Picton.